The symbols are on the buildings. The names are in the files. The money has a trail. And the children have no voice. Except this one.
Follow the money, follow the access, follow the island, follow the list, now watch.
Epstein built the network, but the network was already there before he ever existed.
Every billionaire foundation, every charity front already enlisted. Rothschild, Rockefeller, 100-year architecture built on something darker. Children used as currency in rooms that no investigator gets to charter. Files got sealed, witnesses, mechanic guards fell asleep on the same night. Cameras malfunctioned in the exact cell at the exact time. How convenient, right?
The foundations collect the children. The governments collect the silence. The media collects the check. And they all answer to the same ancient name. Boom, 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 boom.
They built it in plain sight, symbols on the currency, owls on the buildings, goats on the altars, now watch.
Big government front organizations laundering children through charitable names.
Animal rescue operations used as cover stories nobody ever claims. Sacrificed on schedules that align with dates no coincidence can explain. Every major elite gathering, same ritual, same symbol, same in your frame.
Rockefeller built the institutions, Rothschild built the banks. Both built the system that keeps the darkness.
Funded and protected from the people asking questions from the children with no name.
The island had a temple, the temple had an altar. The altar had a purpose that the mainstream never falters. To cover and to bury, to discredit and to burn every single person who gets close enough to learn. Do it for Baal! They've been doing it for centuries. They do it for Baal. And they sacrifice the ones who cannot run. Epstein did not build that network alone. The flight logs have names. The names of foundations. The foundations have access to children. Documented. In case files that keep getting sealed. In testimonies that keep getting buried. In witnesses that keep dying before they testify.
The banking architecture funded the institutions, the medical and educational infrastructure built the pipeline. Big government on every continent signed the agreements that gave these organizations access to the most vulnerable, and the symbol above every door in every room where this happens has always been the same. They serve something ancient and they pay in the currency that the powerless cannot protect. Every major world event has a financial beneficiary. Follow who profited. Every charity protecting children. Check who runs it and who audited. Every government agency tasked with stopping trafficking. Check conviction rates. Every elite foundation board member check their travel, check their dates. The animals do use this cover, use this currency, use this symbols and ceremonies. The documents keep referencing, but nobody is supposed to read. Crystal sees it, the Danks sees it. The files are public, the only thing missing is the courage to say it out loud. They do it for Baal. Read the files.
They've been doing it for centuries.
Epstein was not alone. They do it for Baal. Foundation money.
And they sacrifice the ones who cannot run.
Except this one.
The island. The temple. The altar. The list. The sealed files. The dead witnesses.
Wow. Wow. All I got to say, welcome back. It is your boy, the only original American Dankster, live on Friday, July 31st. It's the end of the month. We've had one hell of a month. Today, we're going to have a fantastic show for you today because I'm going to be tying some very interesting thoughts, comments, things said that people might not have expected. And Stu Peters has come out of the woodwork. He said a lot of things. He's been with Anna Escobar, really showing up with these. She's showing up with these flight plans. She's showing up with these allegations, with these, at least not allegations, I would say probably the appearance of what looks like to be top brass at the administration. When I say top brass, I'm talking the White House admin, Trump's admin, JD Vance potentially, and his admin and his team. Secretary of the Vice President. We're going to talk about him. Stu Peters, he was on a show. I think it was last night. I'm going to show you a clip. I'm actually going to start off this show after I do this intro here, showing you what Stu Peters is uncomfortable saying because it seems that he knows more than most people. And I would imagine that would be the case. Stu Peters is a prolific content creator, commentator, truth seeker. From what I've seen from Stu Peters, he is a soldier for truth. I don't know him that well. I don't know him at all in person, but all I can say is, man, has he come out and been speaking a lot. We're going to talk about that. We're going to show the correlation of what Stu Peters has kind of brought together with, of course, the help of others, but also his own research with Baron Coleman. Now, why does my thumbnail say White House corruption ? White House Charlie Kirk? Well, Baron Coleman put a FOIA request in regarding this special aerial mission flight out of Fort Huachuca. He got denied by the Presidential Airlift Group. He actually submitted it to a lower airlift air group in the administration or in the White House. Maybe I think it was like 99th, 89th, whatever the numbers are. And they actually sent it. The response came from the White House's airplane airlift group, PAG, Presidential Airlift Group. And they denied his desire to have, well, it didn't deny his desire, but they denied him getting what he desired, which was, and what we all desired, is the truth. Who was on a plane? Who was on this, location here? Who was there? Not only that, we still haven't seen evidence of where Erica Kirk was at the day before leading up to when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. We've got timestamps. I'm going to show you video clips. Today, we're going to be doing a lot of reactionary content, and I'm going to be showing you and kind of aligning some of the things that we just maybe have forgotten about, or maybe it needs to be refreshed because the topic is hot right now about Fort Huachuca. Again, it is in the headlines. We've seen Mitch Snow all over the internet. We've seen Stu Peters again all over the internet. We've seen new content creators coming out and doing great work and finding interesting research that is putting the goalpost and pushing it further into the right direction. Not only that, don't forget, I have, and I have it here. Here, I'll show you. I have the communications, the GRAMA request from Chief Long. Okay, and this GRAMA request has a lot of information in it. And I'll tell you what, this right here, this has very sketchy vibes. If we're talking about the feds potentially being involved, well, this is a big signal because you've got, if you don't know what this is Chief Long's GRAMA request. This was from a news outlet. They requested the police chief Long of UVU's like his communications, whether it's email, text, whatever. So this goes back, it starts all the way. It's got mixed dates. Okay. But it's like all the way before September or early September. And there's a lot of different things in here. There's in this, and I'll put it in my Club Watcher Discord. If you want to join, like, if you haven't seen, I'm sure you have, you can join clubwatcher.com. You can get access to all the things that I have. But and I'll put this in the Discord later today. I think I did in the past, but anyways, this document, this PDF, it's 112 pages. It states how they were paying for police presence into a county-wide or city-wide pool of money so that when they needed emergency services, they could request it, and it's already contributed to. So they don't even have to pay additional. Maybe they do a little bit. I'm not sure, but there's information of that in here. Inside of here, there's also information saying that 2 potential senators or GOP Republican Party senators of some sort or representatives showed up to talk to Charlie, to talk to the security about a plan regarding Charlie Kirk. You know, if I let me see if I can find the word plan in here. Yeah, here it is. It's that easy. So check this out. Everyone here, let me read, because I don't know how many of you have seen this from when, because I made content on this a while ago, but I'll zoom in here so you can see. So this is 9/9 at 10:35 p.m. So the almost 12 hours, literally less than 12 hours before Charlie was killed, in the police chief communications records, it says that, how's it going? It's 9:57, 30 minutes later, it says everyone from, and I think it's the same person, so maybe no response, ask how's it going, then ask with a follow-up, nobody responded, right? So they say everyone from event services who reports to me just came to my office letting me know that 2 senators are coming tomorrow. So everyone from event services who reports to me just came to my office letting me know that 2 senators are coming tomorrow. He said that 2 people just showed up at their offices. 2 people showed up at their offices asking to talk to police about a plan. Said they got them to police. If this is indeed true, we need to notify cabinet. So 2 people, do we know the names of the senators? So they're saying they're senators. Well, I've done a lot of research. We're talking about Mike Lee, Senator Curtis, potentially, allegedly, said they mentioned Curtis, but not another name, but said there would be 2 senators showing up. We only have 2, Curtis and Lee, it says. Well, what are these 2 people, these alleged senators, doing, showing up, asking to talk to police about a plan? What are the 2 the 2 grand old party in Utah? Not only that, you know what's interesting about these 2 people? The show is not about them today. But I wanted to refresh your memory because that implicates that federal level employees knew about something going on the next day. That's what it means. So if we're talking about that, then it fits right into what I just opened up and told you about what Stu Peters is saying, about what Jimmy Dore has gone live about today. I know he's got other people doing his show right now, but you can see, people are talking about this airlift, this SAM 702 aerial mission. So a couple of things. The first thing I want to show is proof of somebody saying, Stu Peters himself saying, hey, it looks like there's more to all of this. He says that Candace Owens, the footage that she shows us is actually the footage that just came out that everyone's been talking about the last couple of days of the rooftop of allegedly Tyler Robinson. Stu Peters says that is a phone recording. And based off of my AI analysis, I pulled the video apart and I saw that it was actually a third-party video of some sort. So I already knew that, but it's what Stu is saying is that she phone screen recorded, like she turned her camera on, push video record on somebody else's device that was full screen. And Stu Peters explains that. I'm going to show this clip here from a show he did last night. And yeah, let's go ahead and check this out.
I'm trying to figure out if it could potentially be a perspective thing. Here's the other thing is that video that Candace is showing,
yes, Stu.
He doesn't want to talk. Now, look, Stu Peters is a professional commentator. If he wanted to create drama, like literally, I think I saw this in a couple more minutes and maybe 2 or 3 minutes of this. And this is what sucked me in. I found the timestamp. I ran the transcript. I was like, okay, let me start here. And I was like, okay, well, why is he acting this way? Let me run it through here.
Yes, Stu.
I'm just trying to think how to say this. That the video that Candace is showing is it's a recording of a recording. So
is it
imagine, yeah. So imagine that I've got, this is a phone and I'm viewing this on this phone. I'm on like a FaceTime with you on this phone. And then I've got my other phone and I'm recording the FaceTime with you in full screen. Okay. So there could be hues and halos. You see like some like animalic lines that are kind of running through the footage too. That's because it's not coming straight from the CCTV system. It's coming by way of other methods out of there. There's more to that video too.
There's stuff cut out of it that we never saw.
So after the roof jumper does his roof jumping, I'll bet everybody in here $6 million that what you're going to see is when he makes it over, when you see the wood line that he runs toward, before he gets there, you're going to see several guys.
So this is now, sorry, I spilled my coffee, so I got distracted here. Now what he's saying is that there's footage. Now that footage that Candace has is not the authentic footage, as he said. That's what he's saying. I don't know if it's true. That's what I thought it was, as well as that it was unauthentic footage, that it was somehow given to her, a third party. She recorded something, screen record something. I could tell from the way that the footage is compiled, the way that it looks. It's obviously compressed. It obviously has artifacts. So that makes sense. Now, listen to what Stu says here.
Here's $6 million that what you're going to see is...
He bets $6 million. Now, who bet $6 million to 4 other people unless you know what's going on? Okay? Like, I'm going to tell you right now, he offers $6 million, and nobody does that unless they know. I mean, unless they're trying to carve a story. How about that? Unless they're trying to carve a narrative or they know what's going on. That's it. Unless they know that nobody can find the truth. I mean, there's a few different things, but here, let's hear him out.
Never saw.
So after...
there's stuff cut out of it that we never saw.
So after the roof jumper does his roof jumping... I'll bet everybody in here $6 million that what you're going to see is when he makes it over, when you see the wood line that he runs toward, before he gets there, you're going to see several guys rustling around in the woods.
Several guys rustling around in the woods. Is that why? Remember Barron the other day was saying, why are you guys cutting this off? Why aren't you showing us the whole thing? Why is it that we don't see everything? Why is this? Why are you guys hiding? Why is the dog couldn't find this? And then all of a sudden the feds could, after they sent rookie police officers to go look at the same place that allegedly the dog went to, couldn't find anything.
And then when they kind of get
done, they were saying the missing part was at the beginning. There's missing part at the end.
The roof jumper is going to do his roof jumping and run toward the woods. And he's going to go into the exact same spot where there are
this video
2 to 4 guys, and they are waiting there for him. And after the roof jumper goes into the woods, one of the other guys comes out. It's a guy that we've never seen before, wearing a completely different outfit than anybody has ever seen.
So a lot of us is like, okay, well, what footage is what, right? I don't know. The camera that is showing the other, I mean, it looks like it's possibly a different location, but this is the original footage that we've all seen. It's like, how can you tell? You know, how can you tell this is Tyler Robinson? I mean, literally, it's so crazy that I made a shirt. I mean, I had one person buy. I wasn't trying to sell the shirt, and I still need to produce the shirt for that person. But this is where, I mean, obviously, I don't want a person to go free that committed a crime. But when you put it like this, it's like, come on, you guys. This is what you're telling us is the evidence. Okay? This is what you're telling us is the evidence. I'm not saying free Tyler. I don't care about any of that. It was just a funny shirt I made. But it's ironic is the thing. That's what they're trying to spin off as. That's what they're trying to spin off. I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand it.
Shown us a completely different backpack. then the crowd is running from.
And also, I guess, yeah, someone said here, it's a totally different video, not yet public, and I believe that to be the case. We haven't seen any footage of wrestling around in the woods and et cetera, et cetera.
The incident, and the guy turns around. We get a good 360-degree view of him, and then he goes back into the woods. Who do you suppose would be waiting in the woods for the roof jumper? And why do people keep stopping the video before we get to that point?
Yeah. So there's more of this.
There's
Yeah,
more to the
'cause
video.
It captures him crossing the street. We see the white car that seemed to be stalling in the parking lot. That,
Wait. Stu, do you have the video?
I don't have it.
How do you know about it?
Well, this
Listen, there's just some things that I just know, and I can't say how I know.
Yeah,
and you just got to respect that.
Yep.
You're just going to have to respect that, but you will see it.
So he's saying, Stu Peters is saying, there is additional footage about where the suspect or the assailant had gone that is leading to, I mean, why aren't they showing this? Why are they hiding the evidence that could exonerate Tyler Robinson? Well, a lot of people might say, oh, well, Danks, well, what are you trying to say? You're trying to say they're just going to set up some kid and kill him for, well, Charlie Kirk was killed and he was loved by many. So who is Tyler Robinson to anybody? Someone that went to a university that has a CIA program, ends up dropping out as a grade A student, and then ends up in this scenario a year or two later. You know, as time goes on, this case, what's up, Trigger Daddy? Good to see you, big dog. This case has gone to the point of either, like, this is my concern with the truth about this case. Even if we find the truth, how can we convict anybody in the court of decentralized investigation? We can't. It's not our duty. But what Barron said the other day, which I don't have the clip on me, which I wish I did, but you know, he's saying, look, all of you need to go get a lawyer. The people that know, if you do know, you need to, I mean, the way that these people are talking, the way that Barron is talking, the way that these people are communicating with the public, it is at the very least something that needs to be thought about and say, why are these people like Candace, Barron, Stu Peters, various Elizabeth Lane? There's a variety of people, high profile influencers, much bigger. I'm not even influenced. I'm just some YouTuber. These people have influence. They influence, and they have information, it seems, that we don't have. And we've seen that happen. We've seen the information come out that we have not seen before. All right. So I want to jump to this section. Well, I want to see if I can find this Barron clip, because it was when you, here, give me 1 second. I think I'll find it right here. So why the confidence? I would argue that there is something that we don't know. And I think it's more than just a something. I think there's a lot of somethings that we have not been seen yet. But when you add up the family of Tyler Robinson in court, the grandfather saying, we don't believe that Tyler Robinson did this. You know, if you look at the evidence, this is obviously not our son or grandson. Okay. These are things that all start adding together, you know, and the evidence starts falling apart. They're flooding the zone. There's a lot of things that they're doing that are making us question what in the heck is going on. Like, how about this one? How about this one here? Let me see. There was this old one here.
They just sat down. And while they were there, they were talking to a guy that they ended up interviewing. His name was.
So this was in the beginning, in the first so before, when Brandy and Billy, Brandy Siciliani, shout out, doing great work, were first before we had this hearing live in Utah.
Travis. He was there that day. He's the guy with the weird hand tattoos. He got really emotional. Actually watched it when they had it. I watched it, but I couldn't understand. Like, I guess at the beginning of it, maybe I was doing two things, because in the first 5 or 6 minutes, they recounted a story that I remember vaguely hearing. And here's what happened. After a while of sitting there, they realized that they were sitting directly behind Tyler Robinson's family. And Tyler Robinson's family at one point turned around and said, hey, you guys are talking about the case. Can you dial it back? There's this one lady that was talking to him. She said, can you dial it back a little bit? This is the family. We don't want to hear all this. And they were like, yeah, of course, we're very sorry. And during a break, they actually talked more with that woman. And they asked her things like, what's your relationship to the family? And she said it. I'm not going to say who it was. But she said the relationship is pretty close. Like, she was one of 6 family members in the courtroom. It's close. And then they said, is this consistent? Like, can you see Tyler Robinson doing something like this? Is it? No. I wish I could play the video. I might actually be able to just read the transcript.
And he does.
She said, oh my gosh, we're sorry. Didn't mean to offend you or anything. She said, no. I heard what.
So they're in court or after court or something like that, or maybe in court waiting or something like that. And this is Brandy Siciliani and Billy's channel, and he's reading the transcript from what their conversation was about with someone close or part of the family of Tyler Robinson in the courtroom.
You guys were saying, I appreciate what you two were saying, referring to me and Billy. And we just kind of asked her, so have you spoken to the media at all? Like Candace Owens, for example? And she knew who she was exactly. She just said, quote, I feel like we don't want to say anything because we just think that everything just keeps getting twisted. And then she basically said about 2% of what you're hearing in the media is true.
2% of what you're hearing in the media is true. And I believe that. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Put truth in the chat if you believe that we're being lied to by 98%. Just put truth in the chat. I mean, what else can we do to explain stuff like this? Can you explain this to me?
You holding up over the last 3.5 years. I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks.
Talking about Charlie Kirk.
How are you holding up over the last 3.5 years? I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They just started construction of the new ballroom for the.
We all know this. Trump was asked about how does he feel? How's he doing regarding Charlie Kirk? Nothing. Wasn't he like at a basketball game the next day or something, or that day or whatever? That night, something like that. I mean, these people don't care. These people don't care about us. Nobody cares. We're out here hunting for truth. Look at everybody. We're out here hunting for truth. And what do we get in return? What do we get in return? We get the president attacking people. We get Larry Loomer attacking people. We got Lisa Knows Nothing attacking people. We've got a whole coordination of people, new people showing up. One you just saw today on the screen. So there are people being deployed. I was running something in my AI because I was kind of curious on what's going on with the algorithm. And the reason why I say this is because lately, and it has nothing to do with maybe my content or anything, but I had noticed I do a lot of analytical research on YouTube search term analytics. All right. And YouTube, when I plug in my AI system to vidIQ, there's called an MCP server that connects to vidIQ with my AI agency. And in vidIQ, I'll just kind of I'll show you what it is. Let me go to vidIQ so you can see what this is. vidIQ is for content creators on YouTube. And what it does is it gives you the ability to kind of, here, I'll show you right here, to rank your keywords to search things to see, like, for example, if I wanted to look at keywords for, I don't know, Tyler Robinson, right? And say how many people are searching for that. All right, it shows you. Okay. Now I ran a reverse MCP to find out how many people are actually producing content with Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What's interesting is, and I was going to look for it, I didn't prepare to show you this, but I'll tell you what it said. As of the day before yesterday, every evening at like 10 p.m. my time, which it's like morning time UTC, so it's coming from somewhere else, I think. But it's like late at night, and they deploy new YouTube channels, brand new, and they pump all these weird, the same video of propaganda type of content from brand new creators, like 1 to 100 followers. Like they get 100 followers off of the videos that they're copying, and they're mass deploying, and they're trying to confuse the algorithm. They're flooding the zone. And this is a tactic used by all kinds of different institutions and groups when they want to confuse the masses, the algorithm. They're doing whatever they can to try to inject bad information into the narrative. And the way that you can do that, well, what is the best free way, fastest way to get your information out to the world? Well, YouTube, X, whatever. YouTube is probably the best. If you can get some good views, that shit will go. It'll go viral, depending, or at least 10,000 views, 5,000 views, 1,000 views, something, because you don't know what your video is going to pull up to somebody else and make them go deeper and go down this rabbit hole. So they're already trying to send us down the rabbit hole. Use your gift of discernment. Shout out, Court Dog. Absolutely. So now I'm going to move over to this video here, and I have a place that I stopped it specifically to start right here. So let's go ahead and see what Stu has to say.
And that it will take her peacefully very quickly.
Susie Wiles apparently has cancer. I didn't know. I don't know if he's being sarcastic when he says hopefully it takes her quickly, but
we just pray that the cancer doesn't bring a whole lot of pain for an extended period of time, and that it will take her peacefully very quickly.
Take her peacefully and quickly. All right.
But what about J.D. Vance's chief of staff? Someone like...
This is where the White House starts getting implicated. This is where my thumbnail takes action. This is where the thumbnail takes action. The White House. Have you ever heard of John Recess?
Jacob Recess.
Jacob Recess.
J.D. Vance's chief of staff is a guy called Jacob Recess, a slimy, conniving, tied United States government. We're not just picking his name out of a hat here either. As the vice president's chief of staff, Jacob Recess is exactly the kind of government criminal who gets a SAM flight designation created in his honor. And he's also the exact kind of political operative who's sent in to do the dirty work of the regime and the dirty work of the on-camera members of the regime, people like J.D. Vance, who is closely tied to the entire Charlie Kirk assassination from the beginning to where we are right now.
J.D. Vance, his chief of staff. What have we seen? J.D. Vance has been in the headlines around the Charlie Kirk assassination from day one. Remember Erica Kirk giving him a hug? People, I was in the, where was I? I was in San Diego. And I got to talking to somebody at the beach, I think. And they were, I don't even remember. It might have been my dad. I think my dad was talking about J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. That's where it's like still people are talking, isn't Erica Kirk like dating J.D. Vance? That's how spread this is. My dad doesn't follow the Charlie Kirk case. He's in his damn near 60s, or he's in past his 60s. But why do we all get this collective feeling that something with J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk is up? Well, I've never really felt that way. I don't know, just because she's kind of like, I hate to say it, but she's kind of she looks kind of like, she acts like a hoe the way she acts. the way that she touches other men after her husband. I think she's like Kirk. Whatever the Christian slop that you're spewing, I ain't buying it. I know girls like you. I lived in Miami. I was 6'2", 185 pounds, shredded to the guns. I'm telling you, I know girls like you. I've seen them. I've had them. You ain't any different than the rest of them. You can't trick me.
I mean, just think back to the immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death. It was J.D. Vance who flew in aboard Air Force Two, another SAM flight, to pick up Charlie's body, to get it the hell out of Utah and to fly him off to Arizona where he could promptly be disposed of. By the way, we still have no idea where Charlie's body is. No grave location, no urn, none of that.
Speaking of, I'm glad he mentioned that. Speaking of, Barron just dropped a clip today talking about on his other channel. He's got his other channel, the Clips one. I don't know if you guys know he's got a Clips channel, man. You got to check it out, dude.
That have access to that database.
So this video came out today. And it's funny because where is Charlie Kirk buried? Where is he buried? Oh, he's not buried. Oh, okay.
Could search by his name and it would pop up and it would say whether he's been cremated, where it was done, who presided over it, or it's morbid and it's dark, but we have real questions that remain about what became of Charlie Kirk. You know, he died in a rather fantastic event. It was a rather wild moment. And everybody sort of looked around and assumed proper
buried. I don't know. Some people make fun of me the way I say buried.
Protocol would be followed. The question is, was it? Because if it was, why do we not know to this day what happened to his body? Was he buried?
Bro, a lot of people are asking questions. How come nobody wants to answer? Like, we're crazy? We're the crazy ones? Are you serious? We're the ones that are a problem, huh? How? Why wouldn't the family want to know what actually happened? Why would Kash Patel cancel any investigation into foreign alignment? Why?
Buried? Was he cremated? Did he have a funeral? We can't know because the participants at the alleged funeral, as Candace disclosed a long time ago, but again yesterday, I believe, or she believes, were forced to sign an NDA to go to their own family's funeral. Like, can you imagine being the cousin and having to sign an NDA with penalties attached to it? Very.
I forgot about that. That was a hot topic. A non-disclosure agreement to attend a funeral of Charlie Kirk. What in the hell is that? Can anyone tell me what the hell is that? By the way, if you haven't yet, please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. I'd appreciate it. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. We're almost to 40. I really would appreciate the assistance of getting us to 40 and then 50,000 subscribers. So please hit the subscribe button. About 50% of you are not subscribed. I was actually looking more than that. But if we had every single person that watches this show every single month, every week, like at least multiple times a week, if we had that, we would have almost 100,000 subscribers. My regular monthly audience is 89,000 viewers. So please check to see if you haven't hit that subscribe button. Turn your notifications on all so you do get the information, and join the private community at clubvatra.com.
Bizarre. Very, very bizarre. So let's take a walk through this, shall we? Because there are some legal requirements in Utah what happens to a body. And I'll just outline them broadly before we start pulling up stats.
I don't want to get into that just yet. I want to let Stu cook a little bit more here.
Charlie Kirk's body just disappeared thanks to Vice President Body Snatcher in Air Force Two. And that's not all. You know, video footage is the damnedest thing. And there is some video footage that resurfaced for me. See if I can get it pulled up here. Can you guys cue it? It's video 5. I think it'll be the 5th video. We've played 4, right? So This video footage resurfaced for me of Brian Harpole on Sean Ryan's podcast in November of last year, just over 2 months after Charlie Kirk's death. Do you guys remember that? When Brian Harpole went on the air with Sean Ryan and tried to clear his name but failed miserably, and then started filing lawsuits against Candace Owens and Mitch Snow? Well, during that interview,
he's about to place the vice president on a live call, possibly directing decisions at the hospital with Brian Harpole, something like that, some narration. So here, check this out.
Brian Harpole made quite the interesting claim, a claim that even further links J.D. Vance and those doing business in J.D. Vance's name to Charlie Kirk's death and to Charlie Kirk's dead body. So I want you to watch this and just listen very closely to what Brian Harpole says here.
I can't remember who it was.
Before that, I want to answer this. Crisis King, Go Max 499. Followed Charlie for 10 years. Follow death since day one. I am 71. Don't dismiss the boomers. Crisis King indeed. And I'm not going to skip all the other super chats. I wanted to address this right away. Shout out to you. I didn't follow Charlie Kirk. I've seen him before. I didn't know much about him. I've been very open about that. I'm not. All I got to say is this. When it comes to the reason why I want to mention this is the boomers. The boomers are probably the most important people group in this entire investigation when it comes to understanding the shit that the government can do to American citizens. Because you've seen it. You've experienced it. You've lived it. You've asked the questions that nobody wanted to ask while they were not okay to be asked. You've seen it. JFK. You've seen it. MLK. You've seen all of these things unfold, or at least the story of, or you were closer to these scenarios than anybody else. And you know more importantly than ever how these things can happen. And you are never dismissed in my eyes. And I just want to say that. Thank you for the super chat. You are very much.
But I knew. I was like, we're not going to turn this into some JFK.
Let me go back.
So I want you to watch this and just listen very closely to what Brian Harpole says here.
I can't remember who it was, but I knew. I was like, we're not going to turn this into some JFK. I specifically asked one of the doctors, I don't know, I remember what she looked like, dark skin, like dark hair, probably 35, 40 years old. I said, how long until we can get an autopsy? And I remember her saying a day and a half. And I was like, oh. And so, I mean, she's the boss of that. That's just information. And so I remember, I was like, man, that's a long time. We need to get this autopsy done and done right, so that there's not some conspiracy. So, I mean, you're starting to think forward to that. And
why are they thinking forward about a conspiracy? What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? Hold on.
I was like, man, that's a long time. I was like, oh. And so, I mean, she's the boss of that. That's just information. And so,
let me
an autopsy. And I remember
one more time. Sorry, I keep back forwarding it. Let me run this.
To what Brian Harpole says here.
I can't remember who it was, but I knew. I was like, we're not going to turn this into some JFK.
We're not going to turn this into some JFK. Like, why would this come out of your mouth? We're not going to turn this into some JFK. Like, that is, why would somebody say that? Why would somebody say that? Like, forget about the cutting the shirt off. Forget about him jumping on top and directing and whatever Candace said. Forget about all that. Forget about the fact that he is obviously in charge of the doctors at this moment, according to him, and then steps away. But forget about all that for a second. Why would he say, we're not going to make this a JFK situation, a conspiracy. We've got to be careful to not let that happen. No. No JFK here, sir.
I specifically asked one of the doctors, I don't know, I remember what she looked like, dark skin, like dark hair, probably 35, 40 years old. I said, how long until we can get an autopsy? And I remember her saying a day and a half. And I was like, oh. And so, I mean, she's the boss of that.
What do you mean? Oh, what's the rush, bro? You're in there. You're telling me that you're worried about your boss that just got shot in the neck, according to sources, public information. According to the federal narrative, the Fed slot, he was shot in the neck by a 30-06. And you are concerned that this is going to look like a JFK conspiracy assassination. That's another concern. That's one. Another one is what he just said here.
It's just information. And so how long until we can get an autopsy?
How long can we get until we get an autopsy? What's it to you, bro? That's not that. What? I don't know.
And I remember
I never heard this, I don't think.
her saying a day and a half. And I was like, oh. And so, I mean, she's the boss of that. That's just information. And so I remember I was like, man, that's a long time. We need to get this autopsy done and done right so that there's not some conspiracy. So, I mean, you're starting to think forward to that. And
so he's saying, oh, he's acting like a day and a half is going to take too long. But then he's saying we want this to be done right. And we don't, how many times did he say conspiracy? Let's run. I actually downloaded this transcript. I'm going to pull the transcript and I'm going to ask how many times was conspiracy said in this clip? Because I already pulled the transcript from the transcript of this video that you pulled the whisper file. How many times was the word conspiracy mentioned? This is that video thing I was telling you guys about yesterday, or the last live, Wednesday, I think. Wednesday or Thursday. Are there any things in here that seem psychological in a way that maybe he was involved? Day at UVU for Charlie, Kirk, Brian, Harpole. All right, I'm going to run that. So I said, follow from the transcript of the video that you pulled the whisper file. Whisper is like AI extracted, or like you can use AI to extract whisper for the transcript. How many times was the word conspiracy mentioned? And are there any things in here that seem psychological in a way that maybe he was involved more than he leads on? This is head of security that day at UVU for Charlie, Kirk, Brian, Harpole. So we'll see. It's good to have this thing, I'll tell you that.
so I remember I was standing next to the chief of staff and the vice president called. And the vice president asked him.
So this is where the vice president gets involved, allegedly.
What do you conspiracy? So, I mean, you're starting to think forward to that. And so I remember I was standing next to the chief of staff and the vice president called. And the vice president asked him, what do you need? And then he looked at me and said, what do we need? And I said, we need an autopsy now.
What?
So for these people that are saying there wasn't one done.
We need an autopsy now. Well, why? Everyone knew that Tyler Robinson apparently was the shooter, and it was a 30-06. I mean, what is the hurry on the autopsy? Let's see what it says. It says word count. Still thinking here. Let me find the whisper file. 1 second. Sorry about this. Whisper, transcribe, Fort Huachuca. Here it is, right here. Full. There it is. All right, so
Go away. It was done. It was done. Do a FOIA. Yeah. Get the report when it comes out. It was done. It was done. Yeah. In the
and what did he say about Vice President JD Vance?
So for these people that are saying asked so that there's not some conspiracy. So, I mean, you're starting to think forward to that. And so I remember I was standing next to the chief of staff and the vice president called. And the vice president asked him, what do you need?
The vice president called Charlie Kirk's chief of staff. And he said, what do you need?
And then he looked at me and said, what do we need? And I said, we need an autopsy.
We need an autopsy. So if this is to be believed, then did JD Vance, is that why JD Vance came to get the body, is to do an autopsy, actually take, so, but why fake an autopsy? Like, what is going on with this autopsy?
Now. So for these people that are saying there wasn't one done, go away. It was done. It was done. Do a FOIA. Yeah.
Do a FOIA.
Get the report when it comes out. It was done.
We can't. I don't think we can.
It was done. Yeah. In the OR doc released statements regarding, and there has been statements regarding the bullet and the travel.
I mean, that's news to me. That's news to the entire world, actually. Which is exactly why it seems that Brian Harpole tried to gaslight everyone out there who has heard from members of Turning Point USA themselves that there was no autopsy of Charlie Kirk. We all heard the police radio traffic. It was determined, according to Andrew Colbert, that Charlie Kirk had neck bones of steel, and then his body was loaded onto Air Force Two and taken away, flying around the country with the Vice President of the United States, never to be seen again. But that's not what Brian Harpole says. He says that there was an autopsy. Now, we'll never know what J.D. Vance truly said when he made that phone call to Utah, but whatever it was, it's clear that it ended in J.D. Vance taking custody of Charlie Kirk's body.
Exactly. Exactly. What is that? If Brian Harpole is calling, is getting a call from J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, we need an autopsy. A day to a day and a half wasn't fast enough for Brian Harpole for an autopsy. It wasn't fast enough. In fact, the vice president had to apparently fly out to get this autopsy done for them. Apparently, I guess that's the pieces I'm trying to put together.
Autopsy or no autopsy. J.D. Vance ran the disposal job. He had to get his hands dirty, which only makes sense when you can.
What's crazy is J.D. Vance, weren't they friends, him and Charlie? Where's Don Jr.? Weren't they friends, him and Charlie? Where's Donald Trump? Weren't they friends, him and Charlie? Where are all the people that were his friends? The only person that claims to be his friend is acting like it is Candace Owens. You've got people speaking out from Turning Point USA for all kinds of reasons. All kinds of reasons. I just showed you last week that somebody was able to get a 95-year-old dying man's $25 million estate taken from his grandson and given to Turning Point USA and Young American Federation or Foundation, YAF. This scares me because when you have people taking property for a nonprofit, that's where I start understanding, oh, that's how $500 billion in donations goes to nonprofits every year. How many people in their 90s are on their deathbed are signing over their entire wealth for their bloodline over to some nonprofit that's flying on private jets? Charlie Strickland, Alton Jennings' grandson, 20 years old, was in his will and trust from 2012. And in 134 days before his grandfather died, they made an amendment to the trust, removed Charlie Strickland, the grandson, and changed it to Turning Point Action and YAF and Mitch Manley Sr. You know the cameraman that was just interviewed, Mitch Manley, that was interviewed by Black Line Brief? His father was the caregiver for Alton Jennings. And sometime after Alton Jennings started being taken care of by this caregiver of Mitch Manley Sr., somehow Turning Point USA gets to split a $25 million inheritance with another 501c3, and then the rest goes to Alton Jennings' caregiver instead of his grandson. There's a lot of things. If you go back to the beginning of me talking about Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk, you'll understand why people are saying that Charlie was scared he was going to go to jail, prison. There was an investigation. There's a lot going on here behind the scenes. There's a lot. Now, let's jump over. Go watch the rest of Stu Peters. Shout out to him. We only played about 11 minutes of it. Let me see if there's any. I haven't even watched the whole thing, but I don't think there's. Oh yeah, he does talk about the Google searches and stuff, and he talks about here. Let me pull this up here.
To Fort Huachuca, just as is Andrew Colbert.
So he's tying Jacob Recess, Vice President J.D. Vance's secretary, to this SAM Flight 702. And I believe it's from Anna's research.
On base comes flying into the area somehow, some way. The type of search that was made.
And I will get to super chats at the end of all of this. I'm going to do super chats at the end today. That way I have more time to kind of chat with you and react to your comments and answer your questions.
Repeatedly from Fort Huachuca in the run-up to Charlie Kirk's death, as we have covered here, as Fort Huachuca became the site of meetings and demonstrations and last-minute preparations and briefings before some kind of an operation went hot in the immediate proximity of Charlie Kirk's death. And Jacob Recess is now directly tied to Fort Huachuca, just as is Andrew Colbert. J.D. Vance's chief of staff is directly tied to Fort Huachuca 2 days before Charlie Kirk's death.
Okay, now he's saying this. So I want to see where he goes with this and how he ties this, and I'll play probably another 4 or 5 minutes max. I want to see how he does, because I'm going to show you something else that Baron Coleman says from his GRAMA request.
Was he on SAM Flight 702? Was he on SAM 702, SAM 702 on the 9th? Now, all of that makes what I'm about to tell you a whole lot more interesting. Just last month, Jacob Recess announced his resignation.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Now, he does plan to stay in his position until September, almost a year to the day after Charlie Kirk's death. When Recess announced this departure, J.D. Vance issued a public statement. Where is it here? Quote, Jacob has been by my side for my whole career in public life. I can't imagine having been on this life-changing journey without him. From day one of my time as a senator-elect, I could not have asked for a more loyal and discerning advisor and friend as my chief of staff. I'll miss him dearly, but he won't be far, and I plan to keep his counsel close until our paths cross again. End quote. Look at him. Look at that guy.
I don't like judging a book by his cover, but something about that look, that 1,000-mile stare. Have you seen that? Do you know what that looks like? That 1,000-mile stare is? Do you know what the 1,000-mile stare is? Let me show you something. I'm going to show you something. So when we played baseball, or when we were like, whatever, when you're like super tired, 1,000-mile stare. Downloads. Here, watch this. I'm going to zoom in on his face because I want you to see what I'm talking about. Where'd it go? Here it is. This right here. This right here. This is the face of someone that does not look happy. It's like, this is a face of someone that doesn't look happy. I don't know how to say it. There's something concerning here. There's something concerning here.
Now, that quote was originally given to NBC News. It was run in multiple corporate media outlets, including Israeli corporate media outlets. No surprise there. They're all Israeli corporate media outlets, to be honest with you. And outside of that, we really don't have any explanation as to why Recess has decided to pack it up and leave. Now, at this point, as far as we know, Jacob Recess is still employed as J.D. Vance's chief of staff. There's no public accounting for where he was on September 8th and September 9th. Apparently, he's going to be replaced by Nick Luna, a Kushner-connected creature of both Trump administrations, who's also served as a member of the United States Holocaust Memorial Council. Shocking, I know.
I wanted to tell you what my AI said. because the conspiracy question was kind of, the frame wasn't long enough, so it pivoted. Now it says it doesn't want to, apply guilt to Brian Harpole. I'll just read what it says. Contradiction, the real version. It says this. Let me just read it out loud here. So it says, I'll do this part because is he contradicting himself? I asked if he's contradicting or if he is involved or if he psychologically, can you profile these questions? And it says, let's see. Here's what's actually in what he said. The one that matters, he vouches for a result he concedes he hasn't seen. He says flatly and repeatedly, referring to the autopsy, it was done. It was done. Then, in the same breath, right after, he says, get the report when it comes out, Brian Harpole. If the report hasn't come out, he hasn't read it. And he's asserting maximum certainty about a document that he's simultaneously telling you doesn't exist. That is a genuine logical gap on recording. And it's in the corner. It's not because of his delivery, but because the claim is falsifiable and he's overcommitting to it. He also claims a source claim retreats to an unsourced one mid-sentence. The OR doctor released statements regarding, and there has been statements regarding the bullet and the travel. He starts with a specific attributed source, the OR doctor, abandons it, and lands on unattributed passive voice. The sentence ends committing to much less than it started with. Either the OR physician issued statements or nobody did. He also has a memory disclaimer. Or I have a memory disclaimer. It sits next to a specific recall. I can't remember who it was, but I knew. We're talking about Brian Harpole. I can't remember who it was. When he's talking to Sean Ryan, he says this. I don't know. I remember what she looked like. Dark skin, like dark hair, probably 35, 40. This is how people genuinely talk while reconstructing a chaotic day. So I wouldn't lean on that, but a hostile interviewer would, and it wasn't taken advantage of. Now, he sees the chief of staff and never says whose. So there's a lot of things here. I'd like to do more research. I don't want to dig too deep in that. Like I said, I'm still working on it, but let's keep going on what Stu has to say here. And then I'm going to switch to another clip of Barron.
And by the way, that statement from JD Vance, the one that we just read, take note of what he said down toward the end there. The paths of JD Vance and Jacob Recess will cross again, and they will really never diverge. Jacob Recess won't be too far away, says JD Vance. And that makes perfect sense because Jacob Recess isn't the type of guy to ever be really far away, actually, his entire life. He has been wrapped up one way or another in this country's political system as an unelected, completely unasked for appendage of elected officials, dating all the way back to when he was a high school student.
Okay, so maybe Jacob Recess needs some looking into. So now we're going to jump over to Baron Coleman. Now that we're kind of tying everything together, Jacob Recess, 702 Sam flight. Well, here we have a couple of things that happen. I have two here. So let me play the beginning of this and start lining up these ideas, these thoughts, these alleged thoughts, conspiracies, whatever. Because if indeed what Stu is saying is true, well, why is Jacob Recess leaving the administration? Why are all these people constantly leaving this administration? They're a year and a half in. You've got police people quitting their jobs. You've got all kinds of people just leaving. Not only that, you've got not even just the Charlie Kirk case. You got Ellen DeGeneres moving to UK. You've got, I guess, LeBron James, and people are freaking out about the Epstein files. It's like, I think if we keep digging, something is going to crack here.
Community or the gay community. Charlie did not say to this alleged source that I'm afraid the furries are going to kill me if I turn against them. It's not who he was scared of. Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. Well, we had a follow-up because there was a lot of scandal involved in that tweet. A lot of people were very upset with Harrison Smith that he had not gone to the law enforcement, had not taken that to law enforcement, or at least had not revealed the source. Instead, Harrison Smith said, well, if law enforcement wants it, they can contact me. So in either, I think late December, Candace Owens hosted an X space. I don't know if you know what that is, but on an X space, different people can grab the microphone. So she hosts, and a number of other people were allowed to chime in. I can't remember who all talked that night. I know Harrison was one of them. And someone else chimed in to say, hey, Harrison, about that tweet, don't you think that that should be looked into? And he said, well, the feds have never called me about it. And he said, well, who sent it to you? He said, I'm not going to tell you. And they said, well, will you at least contact law enforcement and let them know about it? And he okay. Well, shortly after that X space, Harrison Smith had a follow-up.
This right here is so damning. It's scary. How is it that Harrison Smith was able to release this information if it wasn't true?
He took to InfoWars to say the following. This was on December 31st, New Year's Eve.
Actually look into something before you make the claim, which I think is sort of the ground floor of this whole frustration. Yes, I am the one that said Charlie Kirk was afraid Israel was going to kill him. I reiterated it again in an interview with Jake Shields about 2 weeks before Charlie was killed. And, since then, the FBI I've actually made contact with somebody this morning. Somebody reached out to me and wanted to know who the source was. And so I helped connect them. So everybody going, why, if you really heard this, which of course I did, how would I have tweeted that out a month before the assassination? Like, how would I have had that?
Well, that's because you were from Mossad.
Right.
Obviously, Alex is being facetious there at the end, but it's a good question. So, and we all thought that was that. But it's been...
What do we know about the Israeli body of people in this country? What do we know? Well, we know that our entire political system is bought out by them. We know that. They brag about it. AIPAC brags about it. When Thomas Massey was destroyed, they bragged about it. You fuck with us, we fuck with you. That's what they're saying. So if they bought out all of our politicians, then why would anyone not believe the narrative potentially that they were involved in the assassination? Why wouldn't anyone believe that? If the guy showed up 9 times, BB, he's here now or was just here 9 times in a year and a half, created a war, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's the top of the list at this point. BB comes out and says, oh, right away, right when Trump, like, we didn't even know if he's dead or not yet. And this guy's coming out and saying he wasn't involved. What are you doing, bro? The signs are there.
Bugging me ever since that statement, because now we are 6 months or so after Harrison Smith got that update and said, a member of the FBI reached out to me this morning. That was December 31st.
So then,
31st.
Well, here.
Remember, the FBI reached out to me and I was able to connect them with the source. In other words, I told them who the source was and I gave them their contact information.
Okay, so the source that gave Harrison the information to make this post, if you just saw it, where he's saying somebody reached out to him saying Charlie Kirk's going to get killed by well, the FBI connected with Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith connected the feds with the person that told him that information. And this is what happened.
I have an update. I cannot tell you the names of these people, but I'll give you kind of people they are. The person Charlie Kirk shared the text message with was someone very closely connected to TPUSA. This was not a random person. This was not like a reporter. This was not some random friend of his. This is someone who is very highly regarded and very highly connected to TPUSA. That person received that text message. I'm afraid Israel's going to kill me if I turn against them. That person shows the text message to a friend of his. That person is the head of a large nonprofit, we'll call it. It's a respectable person who's known. That was Harrison Smith's source. So I keep following up on this, and I keep trying to figure out, did the FBI ever contact these people? Well, I finally caught up with someone who would know. And what I heard shocked me, because I could not believe a scenario where this is what I was going to hear. But I asked very bluntly, as many ways as I could ask it. Hey, man, that Harrison Smith tweet, did they ever follow up on that? Did the FBI ever reach out to the source? And the answer was no. I said, well, what about local law enforcement? No. What about Utah law enforcement? No. Nobody reached out to the source? No. Did anybody reach out to the original person who received it? No.
My goodness.
Those are the facts that I received. Nobody received it. Nobody received a call from the FBI. It's almost as if the FBI just wanted to know who it was that was in possession of this text. And I find that tragic. I believe this source.
Why would that be the case? FBI, Kash Patel, we're not investigating foreign leads. Joe Kent gets shut down. The DNI gets shut down by the FBI. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't think Kash Patel is running the FBI. So who is? Who's actually running the FBI? Because Kash Patel is not capable, obviously. Is it the swamp that we were promised was going to be liquidated? Weren't they going to liquidate the swamp? Why is the swamp still swimming? The swamp is still swampy as all hell. Now that you know that, let's see what this is.
But when you're talking Presidential Airlift Group, you're talking support for presidential transport. You're talking white.
Now we're back to Stu Peters. So all of this thing, everything that I've showed you today so far up to this point is showing you federal potential involvement of some sort in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It is starting to appear that way. And from sources inside, from people that know more than I do, information about Erica Kirk is going to come out regarding Fort Huachuca. That's what I heard. Information about what is going to be happening, what actually happened when he jumps off of that roof, whoever it is, and does the Spider-Man jump, and where they go after, and what is happening, where the firearm was found and in the woods, and there's going to be footage released of that, unseen footage. Why are they hiding this stuff? Why are they not investigating? Why are they pushing this narrative down our throats? You have to ask yourself that question. What is the point?
White House advance teams. A White House advance team are people who go out in advance of a White House visit. So if the president of the United States is showing up in Nashville, he's going to speak at the convention center. They don't just show up the day of and say, where's the men's room? No, they send an advance team out. They go out in advance.
Let me go right
under
here.
Sam Callsign.
So this is the Sam Callsign, the plane itself. He sent a GRAMA request in to find out the manifest of the flight. And he explains a little bit of this. I think it'd be better to just go back from here.
And so the plane we requested records for was plane 990404. This is a C-37, like you see on your screen there. And that's a 99th Squadron aircraft. These are very routine flights. These are unclassified flights. These are historically almost always released under FOIA when you ask for the records. Who was on the plane? Where were they going? These are very routine FOIA requests, and they're very routinely granted. They do have some standard privacy redactions when you get your thing back, but they're handled directly through the 99th. But if you go back to our denial, it doesn't say that the 99th is who has discretion over these particular records.
So he submitted a request to the department where he believed the answer would come back from. And he got an unexpected response from an unexpected department of the institution for airlift and all of that, and the administration and the FBI and all the people that are in the government that fly airplanes. And the Presidential Airlift Group is the one that responded to him saying, the final determination for this record request is a complete denial. While records have been released in the past, future request will not be granted at the discretion of the Presidential Airlift Group. This decision is based on the Secretary of Defense's assessment that the requested information pertains to critical infrastructure security for the Department of War and is not releasable under the FOIA due to the Secretary of Defense's determination that the information sought constitutes our directly relates to Department of War critical infrastructure security information. So this information has been released before, but never again. It seems never again. Future requests will not be granted at the discretion of Pete Hegseth. So before they sent this out back to Barron, which took months and months and months, right before he gets it, Secretary of Defense probably saw it and said, hell no, we're not doing
Records that we requested will not be granted because of the discretion of the Presidential Airlift Group. That is a different group. That's a different command. That's a different structure. That's a different organization. They're all part of the 89th, but the 99th and the PAG are two different entities. So let's look real quickly at the PAG. This is the VC-25. Says this aircraft are operated and maintained by the Presidential Aircraft Group, assigned to Air Mobility Command. So they're part of the 89th at Joint Base Andrews, but they have the unique mission of presidential travel, upholding the proud tradition and distinction of being known as Air Force One. That's the Presidential Airlift Group. Now, is it possible that someone who ordinarily flies under the Presidential Air Force Group might use another plane? Sure. Vice President Harris one time flew on a C-37. Normally that would be a SAM flight under the.
So he's explaining like who could potentially be flying on this. Well, guess what? Stu Peters might have put that in there. Might have figured it out. I don't know. Right. I haven't had a chance to watch Anna Escobar and what she's saying, but was Jacob Recess on this flight? And if so, why?
9th? But she flew instead on a C-37. Joe Biden once flew on a C-37. They typically do this when they want to stay low profile, or they're flying into a place with a very small footprint, a very small airbase footprint. So they don't have the 1.5 or 2 mile long runway that's required to stop Air Force One or one of the large planes. So they actually fly on a smaller plane just for convenience. It's happened before, but if you don't want to take a highly recognizable aircraft into a particular area, you might fly on a C-37. But when you're talking Presidential Airlift Group, you're talking support for presidential transport. You're talking White House advance teams. A White House advance team are people who go out in advance of a White House visit. So if the President of the United States is showing up in Nashville, he's going to speak at the convention center.
So now he's giving explanations on who could be, what are the purposes of sending out some White House admin that could be. I'll let him explain the variety of people that could be. But Jacob Recess, why is he quitting his job? Why? What is the allegation? There, like I said before, there are people that know more than I do. There are people that know more than all of us. Candace Owens, Barron, probably. I'm sure there's actually, I guarantee you that they know a lot more. Somebody asked in the comments earlier, I saw it go by, why hold on to the information and not just release it all at once? I'm not them. If it were me, I wouldn't. I don't know how I would handle that situation. I've had information before where I've held information and I waited, because sometimes you have to find other things to. You can't just throw all of your all of the things that you think you have out into the street and hope that somebody comes and picks it up and finds a gem inside of it. You have to do all of the legwork yourself, because then if you show your firepower, I'll just refer it as ammunition. If you're shooting your ammunition without a rifle, without a scope, and you're just spraying it out as soon as you get it, it doesn't give you enough time to digest and to mix things and figure out what is what. So that's what I would think. I imagine that the reason why they have to hold on to this information is, one, they have to consult with lawyers in some cases. I'm sure Candace had to consult with her lawyers to drop that footage the other day. Every single situation could be different, but you don't want to just unleash everything, especially when there's so much to talk about and to align, right? Especially as more information is constantly coming out. But I don't know the whole reason why.
They don't just show up the day of and say, where's the men's room? No, they send an advance team out. They go out in advance. They check out the security, the lay of the land. They look for infill and exfill routes. They know where the hospital is. They get in touch.
Oh, definitely. I want to talk about it. I just don't know enough yet, and I have to watch her content. I want to talk to her about it as well. But yeah, Anna Escobar, the running. So I heard about that. I think I might do a live about that on my next one, but I need to get with her. I need to review what she's talking about. But yeah, I've heard of stuff like this too. But remember, I am a receipts person. I don't really dive into things I can't prove, but sounds like she's got some interesting things that at least need to be talked about, and I will. Okay. And if you don't know who Anna Escobar is, you go to my channel on my recent lives, you'll see.
For certain emergency communications. They get in touch with the local highway patrol to know, how do we shut down the interstate when the time comes. They look at where helicopter pads are in case they need to do a quick evacuation by helicopter. They look at locations where snipers can be posted. They go ahead and sweep the facility for bombs. They bring in bomb dogs. They bring in all kinds of stuff. This is one of the missions of the Presidential Airlift Group, a White House advance team. Well, we can be sure that the White House advance team was not at Fort Huachuca. That would not be something they would do. So we can rule that out. That's one of the 3 reasons the PAG flies, and we can rule that one out. The second one is Secret Service coordination. So if the Secret Service has to go out for whatever reason and do something related to presidential duties, they will fly under the PAG. The PAG will take care of that. The Presidential Airlift Group will get them a plane. Even if it's not the big plane, they'll get them a plane, and they'll be in control of making sure the president's Secret Service or the vice president, or not the vice, the president's Secret Service is here or there, wherever they need to go. Probably not the case in this situation. There's only one other class of people who fly under PAG, and that's special missions directly tasked by a particular office in the executive branch. And that is the White House Military Office. The White House Military Office can task the Presidential Airlift Group to fly missions. You might have heard recently of the White House Military Office. After the president came under attack at the Washington Hilton at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, Candace Owens received an email that was mistakenly sent to too many people, talking within an hour, I think, of the event, talking about the fact that the Erica Kirk video was trending, and that the trending Erica Kirk video needed to be promoted because it was the best publicity they had going. That email was sent by the White House Military Office, allegedly. And so you have now involvement of the White House Military Office in an operation, a military operation. It's the military office. This is not a PR office. This is a military office inside the White House that was executing a mission.
This is a good question, Bud Girl. They're maybe behind, so they might not see this, but it's a good question. I'm behind, so my comment may not fit. But the VP has no business interfering with the death investigation of anyone. Not to diss Charlie Kirk, but Why is his death more important than someone shot at Walmart? Well, we have a multi-tiered system of importance here in the United States. If you're rich, you have a higher level of importance to people that are important. If you are famous, you have some other type of level of importance. If you're rich and famous, you have more importance. But if you're responsible for getting the president elected and the vice president in office, you have the highest level of consideration when it comes to the public purview, the public perspective. So why is he more important? Well, 3,000 people don't show up to see somebody that goes to Walmart speak about politics and Christ and all that. So he was obviously a big part of Trump getting elected. He was obviously a big part of the propaganda for Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. He was obviously a big zoologist. You know what I mean with the Z? Okay, zoologist. I don't like saying the word on here. So he is important enough to say, hey, let's try to either, but we're under the assumption that he's just interfering in an investigation. That's not necessarily the case. What they're doing is they're coordinating something. They're coordinating something. Why is JD Vance on a plane to go pick him up? That's the question. Why is Brian Harpole rushing to get an autopsy that 24 hours to 36 hours isn't long enough? Why? Why is that? Why? Again, remember, listen to what he said here. Listen to what Brian Harpole says here.
So that there's not some conspiracy. So, I mean, you're starting to think forward to that. And so I remember I was standing next to the chief of staff and the vice president called. And the vice president asked him, what do you need? And then he looked at me and said, what do we need? And I said, we need an autopsy now. So for these people that are saying there wasn't one done, go away. It was done.
It was done? How, where, when, where? How do you know?
It was done. Do a FOIA. Yeah. Get the report when it comes out. It was done.
It was done. Do the report when it comes out. All right. The guy, man, this was the worst thing he could have done is come on and do this interview. That was big mistake on his behalf. And then when you add up all the lying and all the people involved and all the strangeness and the activity of it's just insane, you guys.
Day number 1.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
We've all
so on official police recordings, they didn't do an autopsy. Is that right? Is that right? So let's run this back real quick.
Some new questions have come up about what really happened to his body. Candace Owens is now asking whether Charlie was quietly cremated. And people are asking this because we've heard strange things about the autopsy from day number 1.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
We've also heard claims that the hospital where Charlie was taken to had brand new staff.
Also, I told you there was a new CEO and therefore a new lead surgeon, Andrew Zenger, over at the hospital, the regional hospital that Charlie was taken to. Although that was not the nearest hospital, I was also informed that the coroner in this case was also brand spanking new. That name has not yet been released. I am told that person is new. Okay.
Now, Erica Kirk has repeatedly said she doesn't want to answer these questions.
Now, I'm going to show you something here. Something that Candace said yesterday. I put it on X. I had to put it on X as soon as I saw that she said it. Right here. Here we go. So this I find very, very interesting, and I want to know what you all think.
I am told that at some point in the 10 o'clock a.m. hour on September 10th, so to be clear, and this is crucial, over 2 hours before Charlie was shot, the Timpanogos hospital staff directed everyone who was in the emergency room into a different wing of the hospital. People were not sure what was going on. The staff was directed to move everyone in the emergency room to a different wing of the hospital. Then after some time, at approximately 11:30 a.m., patients were informed that they would be transferred aboard shuttles to Intermountain Hospital. That's Utah Valley Hospital. And that's what happened. All of the emergency room patients and all of their files were then transferred to Intermountain.
Smash the like for your boy. Share this, repost, whatever you got to do to get the truth out. I am here for it.
So there's effectively no trail outside of hospital cameras, which have been conveniently seized by Kash Patel's office, of these patients ever having been at Timpanogos Hospital. Now, there are a few things I'd like to say here. First, there's always a trail. There's always a trail.
So what she's saying here is that the emergency room, allegedly, according to Candace Owens and inside information, the emergency room in the hospital, they were moved to a different part, 2 hours, moved to a different part of the hospital. Now, I haven't looked into this. Let me see if I can just, is there evidence of UVU, what was it? Timpanogos Hospital staff being moved to a different part of the hospital day of Charlie Kirk assassination. Let me see if there's anything I can just type that in real quick. This is what it's saying here. There's no verified evidence. Claim appears to stem from online speculation. Verified hospital timeline and facts. Emergency transfer immediately after 12:23 shooting. Bystanders carried Kirk to SUV. Pronouncement: medical staff treated him in the emergency department, where he was subsequently pronounced dead. Public findings: following the announcement of his death, crowds of supporters peacefully gathered. Where do these claims originate? In the months following the events, the case has been subject to various true crime podcasts. So yeah, apparently she has inside information that's just not public to anybody else. And if what she's saying is indeed true, this is scary.
It's crucial. Over 2 hours before Charlie was shot, the Timpanogos hospital staff directed everyone who was in the emergency room into a different wing of the hospital. People were not sure what was going on. The staff was directed to move everyone in the emergency room to a different wing of the hospital.
Now, I will say, if you have a high-profile political assassination and something like this is going on, I don't know. I'd like to ask my family. I have a family member who is director of a very large hospital out here. And I want to ask that person, what is the protocol? We might be able to just ask ChatGPT. Let me see. Can we ask ChatGPT? Let's see. Can we get a conversation out of this? What is the protocol? I've heard okay, let me ask you this. If someone is dead, like a political assassination, like Charlie Kirk, and is brought to Timpanogos Hospital, is there any hospital type of procedure that moves people or staff or patients if there's a large assassination character that comes into the hospital? Would they move staff? Would they move any of the people, like patients that are in there? Is this something that is a procedural thing that would be done by a hospital? Because I've heard that staff at Timpanogos Hospital 2 hours before Charlie showed up was moved, which means they would know ahead of time, allegedly, and patients were moved to a new hospital. Can you tell me about that?
Checking that now. It's not something I can assume from standard protocols. Generally, trauma centers do notify staff ahead of a high-profile patient's arrival, but moving other patients to another hospital isn't routine just because someone famous is coming. If staff were reassigned, it might have been for trauma preparation, not for knowledge. If you want, we can look at EMS logs or trauma center activation records, but it need real evidence, not hearsay.
Has there been in history times where they've moved patients and staff when a political or high profile figure was brought in for something like this?
Checking it now. Okay, yes, but usually because of capacity or security. For example, after Reagan's 1981 shooting, the hospital ramped up security, but there wasn't widespread transfer of other patients. Transfers happen mostly if a hospital is overwhelmed, like a mass casualty event, but not because one high profile patient arrives.
Interesting. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing. But that answers that. So it's not a common thing potentially, but I will ask somebody who's actually in the field. Another thing, one other thing I wanted to show that Jesse on Fire was showing during his live today. And I'm going to analyze this with my software that I built, but I think this is interesting as well. And I want to know what you guys think.
Back at work. Next thing I notice as we're watching this, guys, he's running in a full gait, completely bending both knees, which means at this point there is no disassembled rifle in his pants. So let's look.
It does look like there's something here. I don't know.
See if we can see a 44-inch long gun that he's carrying fully assembled.
Oh my God, I went way too far back.
Here,
now,
right here.
Keep in mind, here he is. Most 30-06 are around 44 inches long. That's normally.
And it's a good time. I'll pause it real quick before we watch it again and say, this is gravity. Okay. Like this is.
Here, hold on. It's right here. Right here.
Boom.
The shadow.
Oh, I love it, dude. Watch that again, you guys. Okay. Watch this again very closely. Did you see it? Watch his shadow. Let's
shadow,
see if I can make this bigger by going like this. Okay. Watch the shadow. And it's gone.
Interesting.
It's gone. Wait.
Why would the shadow disappear?
Shadow is gone. Watch it
I mean,
again.
it's there. There is a shadow, but
Explorer's magic backpack at work. Next thing I notice as we're watching this, guys, he's running in a full gait, completely bending both knees, which means at this point there is no disassembled rifle.
so yeah. A lot of strange things going on, right? I'm going to get to super chats here in a second, but I just want to say, look, I don't know what happened. But the scariest thing in the world to me is that having potentially the government involved in assassinating somebody that is involved in getting them elected for the presidency. If that is indeed true, we need to be very concerned. We need to know the truth. If these are the people running our government that we pay them, don't get me started on all the other stuff that we pay them and the money is going all over the world and they don't care about Americans, and Trump's even said it. Iran's putting the Lego, all this stuff. What if what we think is all correct? What do we do then? Because that is a very scary place to be. If everything is accurate and our conspiracy turns out to be true, what do we do? Because I don't have an answer for you yet. If that were to be the case, God willing, it's not the case. I don't know. Maybe Tyler Robinson did it and they're going to prove that and that's it. But we have no evidence of that yet. None. You can't even put Tyler Robinson on the scene. They're stretching themselves to put Tyler Robinson on the scene. They shut down investigations into Israel. They could care less about Charlie Kirk, what happened to his body, about us and our quest for truth. And this isn't the only thing that they're hiding from us. The files, Iran, Israel, the Board of Peace, Libya, Syria, China, Russia, Ukraine, all of the shit in the Middle East, the clean break operation, rebuilding rebuilding Western defenses across the globe. This has been planned, all of this stuff. Charlie Kirk was a problem. Charlie Kirk was a problem. You put him in front of all of these people, you want him to come out on YouTube while they're trying to drop bombs in the Middle East and take out the Ayatollah? When they're trying to take out Ayatollah Khamenei? Do you think Charlie Kirk would be an asset for them when he's like, we shouldn't be in this fight? What about the data centers? How loud do you think Charlie Kirk would have been about the data centers, about the Epstein files, about the whole section 224 that turned into 219 and 622 and them controlling and having bilateral access to our technological infrastructure? How do you think he would feel? Do you think Charlie Kirk, would be okay with our military and our technological infrastructure being merged with any foreign government, especially the one that he said was going to kill him? No, obviously not. He was going to be a problem. And it is very clear that that problem would be worth getting rid of if they were willing to do it. Because now, instead of Charlie Kirk being there leading the pack, talking about all of these things, you've got all of us. But Charlie Kirk was louder than all of us. He was louder than Candace Owens, louder than Barron, louder than all of us in this narrative together. Him alone. And they couldn't have that. They couldn't have it. That's what I think. They could not have Charlie Kirk saying, we shouldn't have been gone to Iran. I told you this was going to happen. We shouldn't have data centers. People are dying. People can't even buy homes. My people that I'm going to see are telling me they can't even afford a tank of gas because it costs $90 to fill up a truck on 87. I got to use 91 on one of my cars. I put a half a tank in my gas. It was in San Diego. It cost $90. Half a tank and a freaking 4-cylinder turbo. 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder, I don't know. Do you think Charlie would be okay with that? No, of course not. He would be up their ass like a freaking doctor trying to check for cancer up some dude's butt crack. He would be up there. Colonoscopy. He'd be a colonoscopy up the administration's ass. And that's what I think happened. So that's the show. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get to my favorite part. Philippe. Oh, Philippe with the first 100 SEK banger. Hey, bro. I fear you. Oh, by the way, before we get into this, please smash a like if you haven't already. Share. Go to clubvatcher.com. Every week we have our investigator tier war room chat where we get together, we hang out, we investigate deeper. I show cool things. We do AI research, all kinds of cool stuff. So please come join the investigator tier for the weekly calls and come hang out with us in Club Vatra. And there's other creators as well. Anna Escobar is getting set up on there as well, so you'll be able to join her soon. So please come hang out with us. And yeah, let's get back to it. So I fear US is going to lose its role as cash cow. And we know what happens to empires that wake up. They will start over. Maybe in China, Asia again. Awesome intro, my man. Thank you. Oh, by the way, that intro, they do it for Baal. I chose to play that song today. I made that song a while ago. If you don't know me and my intros, I make music. I use AI for a lot of it now, but they do it for Baal. They do it for Baal. I'm telling you, they do it for Baal. Christy, what's up, girl? $10. I'll be listening. Love you, Danks. Love you, mods. Hope Mama Danks is doing okay. She's doing great. We're expecting our baby in the next week to 2 weeks. So we're gonna have a baby boy here soon. I'm gonna be super busy, but you know, I'm here for it, baby. I'm here for it. Thank you so much, Christy. Oh, $10. I'm out. Catch the replay. Thank you, Christy. Big love to you. I saw this from Lemon Curd. Good to see you, Lemon Curd. She's been around for a while. The most annoying thing that I find is, oh, this was it. I actually saved this. Why hold on to the evidence of Candace Barron, etc.? All want the truth. Effing release stuff that exonerates Tyler. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I wish I could answer that, but you have to ask them. Ask Barron. He answers all of his super chats. Throw him a $5 super chat and say, hey, Barron, if you have this information, why are you, or in general, why would one hold it? We got Saturday members only live streams. Thank you for the super chat earlier as well. Lemon Curd and Christy and Philippe so far. Critter gifted Danks membership, and so did Christy. Make sure you come on tomorrow. Today's Friday, right? Yep. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Sometimes we go at 11. So if you're a member, every Saturday we have a live stream for the members only. You don't want to miss it. Richie Rich, great work, brother. All the best from the UK. God bless. Thank you, bro. God bless you. Freedom for me. Member for 2 months. Welcome. Member for a month. Welcome. Richie Rich. Crisis King Go Max. Yes, we know we've been lied to. Thanks, Dank. You're welcome. I know it's tough. It's tough. It's tough, man. I hate that nobody. The crazy part is that they're saying they're the most transparent administration in history. At the same time, they've never told us anything true. Killing Americans, killing American soldiers, killing people across the world, being involved in a G-side, being involved in propaganda, being involved in security manipulation and treason-like activities. We are in a tough spot, you guys. We are not in a good place right now. We're not. Freedom for me to 1999. Thank you for the super chat. Retired Air Force female veteran who turns 70 on Monday. Thank you for your service. Wow. 70-year-old Air Force female veteran on Monday. Happy birthday. Hey, I heard 70 is the new 50. I heard 70 is the new 50. You come hang out with us. We'll keep you young. We keep you young right here. I cried for weeks after Charlie Kirk's murder and soon realized my entire life has been a lie. Through tragedy, triumph prevails. Keep going, Max, for Charlie, and Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Imagine like when the earlier person who said, and I do have a poll up. Make sure you vote in the poll. I'm going to close it soon. Do you think the White House is involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination? I mean, 85% says yes. 85% out of 731 votes. That's a lot. I'm going to post that on YouTube when it's done. I'm sorry to hear that your life was a lie. But guess what? You don't have to die not knowing. Not that you're going to die anytime soon, but I'm just saying you don't have to die not knowing. Thank you for the super chat. Amy, good to see you, girl. $10. We are Charlie's friends now. That's right, girl. We are Charlie's friends now. We are. We're here for it. I'm not Charlie's friend. Like, I don't know him personally, but hey, man, I got your back. An American, this is how I roll. American goes down, I got your back. Because let me show you something. Let me show you this. Have you seen this? Has anybody seen what this says? Look at what it says. Americans never quit. We never surrender. What do? We make history. That's what we do. Okay? Never quit. I don't surrender. I'm here to make history. Because what else are we here for? Just giving up everything for them to win? No, I'm not going to do that. No, and neither should you. Thank you, Amy. Philippe, I believe BH listened to BC and ran to SR to get a story out. I have no idea. BH listened to Baron Coleman and ran to SR to get a story out. He knew he got flocked by a donkey. D politicians have no friends. Only bees. Yeah. Thanks, Philippe. I love Philippe, man. I'm glad that you came. Philippe found me from Barron, I think. And he's been around since, and I love having Philippe. Good to see you, Jayco Show. Come see us tomorrow. Members only live stream Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Angela, hey, what's up? Good to see you. If moved to another hospital, proof would be insurance companies charged for admissions, no? Hard to believe not one person has come forward. I know. I think it is very strange. I think that nobody talking from the hospital is very strange. There's a lot of people that work at a hospital. There's a lot of people that like to gossip that work at a hospital. Why is it nobody talking? You know, my wife works at a hospital. My mom works at a hospital. Believe me, people be talking. They be talking. Police get involved and it's I hear about all kinds of stuff. I don't know the truth. Like, I don't know their information and the names because there's HIPAA. But yeah, we hear a lot of stuff. And problem is, I don't know if we'll ever be able to actually get the truth because of the HIPAA laws. HIPAA laws in the United States are laws that don't allow people, even people that are not signed to actually review medical information from a medical chart, like what Candace showed yesterday, Charlie's records. Whoever accessed Charlie's records, you could get sued for that. Like, it's against the laws of HIPAA. So I'll pray for whoever gave Candace Owens the medical record. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Yeah, it's this one here. So and I'll show you what I'm talking about here, the medical records. 1 second.
All right, you guys, happy Thursday. Of course, you know that is our Friday. We've had a lot of fun.
Let me find, she shows the medical record, I think. I don't want to spend time looking for it. Man, Brian Harpole's interview is still top of the conversation. Anyways, yeah, I thought I could find it, but maybe. She shows the medical chart. Here. Right here. So this right here, this is from the internal service of, make it a little bit bigger for you. This is the internal records. I'll just take myself out of Charlie Kirk, allegedly. I don't know. It could be, could not be, but they blocked all this out. This right here, this is a list of patients' names. MRN, if you see, I don't know if you see on my screen. MRN is medical record number. So this is a list of patients, like a check-in list. So it's got all the patients' names. It's got their medical record number, the type of insurance identification, their sex, their date of birth, the age, their address, and the last contact date. And this score was 18. I don't know what score is. Excuse me. But there's programs. There's a program called EPIC, EPIC, and then there's another program. Timpanogos, I believe Timpanogos uses EPIC. If this is indeed EPIC, which I might send this picture over, EPIC is the program that they use. I'm going to send this to somebody and ask them. I'll send it to my girl. Anybody who has EPIC, is this the EPIC platform? Anybody who has EPIC can actually go, I don't know if they need a code or anything like that, but if you know the medical record number or the name, I used to work in a hospital, very short time, for a long time ago, and I could access any medical record that I wanted in the system. Now, there are laws against that, and they can track who actually clicks on the medical record. So they could go into Charlie Kirk's file and they can see every single person and the activity that they did on his record. So that might be why they didn't actually select this and go into it. All they show is a list of other patients and then Charlie Kirk. If you click into this, it will track you and it will tell whoever is looking that you open Charlie Kirk's records and you will be fired and you will be sued. So this is as close as we could get to a medical record unless somebody's willing to risk their job. But shout out to whoever did, because at least we know, based off of this record, it says contact date 9/10/2025. I don't know what that means. Contact date, maybe that means that they showed up. I don't know what this is exactly. Charles J. Kirk. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, I just thought I'd share a little bit of that info. FYI, from RB2B2, $10. Timpanogos is a very, very small hospital, level 3 to 4, and a private shareholders hospital. They most likely had 5 to 10 patients at the most. So it is feasible. What is feasible? What is feasible? That makes sense. We could go look at it. Let's go take a quick look at it here. Let's go to earth.google. I'll pull it up. Let me screen share in just a second. We'll go to Timpanogos Regional Hospital, Orem, Utah. Okay, so if we go, okay, so yeah, this is Timpanogos Regional. If we were to, is there any distance that I can align this to? Measure distance. So this is going to measure the distance of the hospital, heart center, internal medicine. So the emergency room, where is it? We could just measure how big it is from here to here, this building to this building. Oh, it's only 550 feet? Oh, you're right. Wow, 350 feet. Wow. That is small. Okay, interesting. 350 feet. Okay, so let's look for a hospital. What other hospitals are there? Hospital, Orem, Utah. So there's Timpanogos. And then there's Timpanogos Regional ER. So that's the same one. There's a few, but somebody said there was one closer, but I don't think there was there? Because this is the closest one. And then the UVU campus is where? Let's see, I don't know this area that well. But yeah, that's pretty small. Let's go compare to, like, I don't know, Utah Valley Specialty Hospital. And let's see how long this is. Who knows? Go from here to here. Oh, okay, this is small too. I don't know how big one would be, but I just thought we'd look. Thank you for the super chat. I believe you. Butch, good to see you, Butch. 3 months. Butterfly, hey, what's up? $4.99. I am Charlie Kirk. We are all Charlie Kirk. I pray for all the truth tellers. Go Max, stay Max. God bless. I'm right there with you. Thank you. Good to see you, Butterfly. Holly House. My husband was a doctor and ran a whole wing at a U of Washington hospital. The deep state threatened and moved his whole staff overnight, and there was no record of him ever being there. Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet you there's stories. If you have a story like this and you want to share it and you want to come on and say, hey, like, this stuff happens, we've experienced stuff like this before, send me it's my email is so flooded. I'd say send me an email. The best way to get a hold of me is just either super chat or join in the Discord, or you can try to email me. I check them as often as I can. But yeah, if you want to come, there is somebody I'd love to talk to. I'd love to talk to them. They said they were there at UVU. They said that it's Helga Shabalaba Ding Dong. She says she was there. She says that UVU she can see from her house. I'd really like to talk to her, so I'd love to have her on the show. Mayberry, $4.99. The hospital is pronounced Timpanogos. The Gus at the end is a soft Gus. Oh, was I bothering you? Timpanogos. I know there's towns. Thank you for correcting me, and I will use the correct enunciation best possible. All right, everybody. Let's close the poll. We have 770 votes. Do you think that the White House is involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? Would you believe it if I told you that 84% out of 770 votes said yes. Why would we think this? Why would we think this if it wasn't like, what are we, just all a bunch of fake conspiracy theorists? No, of course not. Of course not. We just want to know the truth. And the more truth that comes out, at least that the way that it's coming out, leads us to believe that that's the case. UV regional is IHC in Provo. Level 1 to 2 is only 3 miles from Orem is big. UV regional in Provo, level 1 to 2 is only 3. So UV regional. UV regional. Emergency room. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Utah Valley. Well, I don't see it here, though. Let me see. You said it's called UV regional is IHC in Provo. IHC. Orem Hospital. Okay, here we go. IHC. I see. Oh, wow. The Fields. Okay. Oh, wait. This is the Fields. Orem Hospital. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, wow. Look at this. You guys, this is huge. Look at this campus. Yeah. Let's see how long. I mean, the campus is big, but the facility itself is not very big. Let's see. We could measure it. You want to measure it? We'll go from here all the way to here. 430 feet. I guess the other one was bigger. I guess it was. I thought it was not as big. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, as far as like hospitals and all this stuff going on, I just, I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. 2 to 3 miles only from Orem is big. The biggest is in Murray, IHC level 1. Level 1 trauma, yeah. Look, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I appreciate everybody showing up. I hope you enjoyed, and God bless, man. God bless all of you. You know, I really hope that, let me look that up. UVU is called in Provo UVRMC. UVRMC. Oh, I see it. UVR. Oh, wow. This is a whole, damn, how many hospitals are there in Provo? So, but Provo is further away, no? I guess Orem is like, whereas Orem is like up here, right? So Provo is like way down here. How far is that? Let me see. So if we were to go to here, let me do this. Let me drop a pin. I want to try something real quick. I'm going to drop this pin right on this. So we're going to drop the pin right here. Utah Valley Intensive Valley Hospital Intermountain. So this is UVRMC. And what I want to do is I want to get to UVU campus. So from there to there, where's the campus? Does it not show? Okay, so let's drop this pin right here. So I'll drop it right there. New map. UVRMC. And then we'll put orange. Done. Okay. Then I'll make it a little bit bigger. Edit. Size. We'll make it extra large. Okay, so now we've got that. And then we'll go to UVU campus, and then we'll measure this. All right. So he came out from Utah Valley University, which was right here. If I'm not mistaken, right? Or no? Let me look down from where I'm at. Utah Valley University. Okay. And then this is where, here, Losi Center. Okay. Utah Tech. I mean, this is a big campus, you guys. UVU Center, UCU Center. Okay, here we go. So we'll just drop this here. Right here. All right. And then we'll do red. UVU. Done. So now what we'll do is we're going to measure the distance, and then we're going to also put Timpanogos. Boom. And oh, it's north. Interesting. I believe that's north. And then we'll put it right here. We'll put temp. How about Timpanogos? I'll spell it with the G-U-S, and we'll put yellow here. All right, so we're going to measure these out. So from UVU, okay, so this one looks further away, but it's a level 1, you said, trauma center, right? Interesting. So let's measure this. Why would you go to a small little hospital? Don't forget, you guys, that these people at these hospitals were actually Googled before. So that's 12,966 feet. So what is that? Roughly 5 miles, maybe longer, 6 miles. And then if we go to, so that was 12,000 feet. And if we go from UVU to the tier 1 trauma, this is 17,000 feet. So it's an extra mile. Maybe more, maybe 2 miles. But let's ask this. Let me ask you a question. If you were involved in, if you were assassinated, like someone shot you and you needed a trauma center in Provo or Orem, Utah, would you pick Timpanogos or would you pick the UVRMC level 1, level 2 trauma center?
Let me check. Yeah, for that choice, I generally prefer UVRMC because it's a level 1 trauma center. More resources and specialists on hand. Timpanogos is level 3, so they stabilize and often transfer the most serious cases. But real life, EMS decides based on distance, patient condition, and available transport.
So if you were, okay, so Timpanogos is roughly 12,500 feet from UVU. UVRMC is roughly 17,500 feet from UVU. But the security was the one, there's no EMS. Security drove him to that hospital. Wouldn't the security, like Brian Harpole, know that a level 1 would be in the area? Isn't this part of their preparation?
Checking that. Yeah, that's a fair question. Security teams often pre-plan routes and hospital destinations, but choosing a level 3 center doesn't by itself prove anything nefarious. It could be proximity, minutes matter, or incomplete info. To suggest they knew something in advance, you'd need hard evidence, like logs, comms, testimony.
Interesting. Someone gave a good suggestion. I'm going to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to do this right now. Can you do me a favor and give me the, go to UVRMC in Orem, Utah, or in Provo, and go to Timpanogos and tell me the most common negative reviews at Timpanogos regarding anything, if there's a common type of negative review at specifically Timpanogos.
Checking that. Looking across reviews, there's no unique pattern related to high-profile cases. Most complaints are the usual stuff: slow response times, communication issues, long ER waits, and billing disputes. And yeah, I wouldn't read anything.
Why would
special
anybody
into-
go to Timpanogos if UVRMC is there?
Checking that. Several reasons. Proximity. Most emergencies aren't level 1 trauma cases. It could be
Yeah, I mean,
close to
well,
the home.
somebody was shot in the neck.
Yeah. Checking that. Okay. For neck gunshot, if transport times were similar, trauma systems generally favor the highest level center. But if minutes were critical or the patient was crashing, closest capable ER might be the right call. The choice alone doesn't prove advanced knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, but the 2 hours, alleged 2 hours, staff was moved to another part of the hospital. If that's true, that would be advanced knowledge.
Checking it. If that were true, with evidence, that would be significant. But timing is everything. Was the staff movement because EMS noticed?
Yeah, so I mean, we can only get so much out of that. So yeah, I mean, look, a lot of sketchy stuff going on, man. A lot of sketchy stuff going on. I don't like it. Thank you for the super chat. Welcome to Salvana. So tomorrow, members only live stream. I appreciate everybody showing up. Thank you for being here. I love you all. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Members only. Love you.